Hey guys, in today's video we're going to break down the film Limitless 2011 from all the film techniques to delivery of the film as a whole. This film had a budget of $27 million and their domestic gross was $79.3 million and their worldwide total was $236.1 million. It was directed by Neil Berger and the music was done by Paul Leonard Morgan. Some important characters to remember is Eddie Mora in the top left, played by Bradley Cooper, his girlfriend Lindy, who's next to him, played by Abby Cornish, Carl Van Loon, a very powerful businessman who introduces Eddie to the financial world, played by Robert De Niro. In the bottom left is Gennady, the Russian gangster who Eddie owes $100,000 to. Next to him is Johnny Whitworth playing Vernon Grant, Eddie's old friend who introduces him to NZT. And in the bottom right is Thomas Arana as the man in the coat who plays the assassin that's chasing Eddie and his girlfriend throughout the film. This is a tab of NZT, the drug that is seen throughout the film. It's a symbol of relief for Eddie. Whenever he takes it, he feels better, he feels more confident and powerful. The drug allows you to access 100% of your mind when you can only access 10 going through your brain receptors. And Eddie says it makes him a lot more clear and focused. For a brief summary, Eddie Mora, a struggling writer in New York City, is laid on a deadline, just got broken up with by his girlfriend Lindy. Suddenly, he runs into his ex-brother-in-law, Vernon. Vernon shows him a new drug called NZT at a bar. Eddie goes home and takes the pill, and he becomes instantly more productive. He cleans his whole apartment and finishes 90 pages of his story. Now that Eddie has Vernon's drugs and money, he starts to make a little money of his own experimenting with the stock market. He takes out a loan from a Russian gangster named Gennady, and then he turns that into even more money. He's eventually introduced to Carl Van Loon, a very successful businessman. He takes Eddie under his wing and puts him in charge of one of the biggest mergers in the financial world. Eddie completes the merger while fighting a murder charge that Carl knows nothing about. Eddie nearly escapes, only to go see the man who's been chasing him the entire film. The man reveals that he's only been chasing him because his wealthy boss is also taking NZT and was looking for more. Then the film cuts to 12 months later when Eddie has a meeting and is blindsided by Carl. Carl threatens to take away his supply of NZT and tells Eddie he can't keep it up much longer. Eddie reveals that he is off NZT and sends Carl home with a threat. Before we get into the clips, I want to talk about how Limitless has been criticized for being similar to a superhero film based on the plot. They also think that the film techniques in Limitless are also doing a little bit too much. However, I believe that the use of filter shots, long shots, and the shifting of perspective with different lenses gives the audience a better understanding of the effects of the drug. And the CGI also blends the film into a more sci-fi, realistic, real-world genre. The first clip we'll be looking at will be the first time Eddie experiences the drug. The main film aspect in this scene is the dolly zoom. It shows how Eddie gains a new perspective when he's on the drug and how he has to take a step back for a second as the camera zooms away from his landlord's girlfriend. The camera sets back in on the landlord's girlfriend and you can tell the drug has taken full effect. There's a yellow lens over the camera showing a different view that Eddie has since he's taken the drug. This is a common theme throughout the whole film. As you can see, when Eddie's going through withdrawals, he'll be in a very dark room where there's no lights or they're very dim. You can also tell how the landlord's girlfriend's whole demeanor changed once Eddie starts talking after he's engaged with the drug. The conversation is very different, and you can tell by her body language and voice that she is intimidated. This scene was heavily criticized for its use of CGI. Critics said that it was doing too much, disruptive, and that it was unrealistic. However, I believe that the letters falling off the ceiling blend really well with the movement of him typing and contribute to the speed and mindset of the scene. The film is also not supposed to be 100% realistic. It's a sci-fi version of our world, and things such as CGI and messing with the speed of a shot will fit into the particular style of this film. Neil Berger really likes to play around with filter shots and messing with the colors on the screen as the audience sees them. This scene is a perfect example of him doing that. This scene is visibly darker than the majority of other scenes in the film. When Eddie experiences the strong withdrawals, he loses control of his body and almost goes into a coma-like state. The dark lens emphasizes him fading out of consciousness and gives the viewer a more first-person view. Berger also does a lot of eyeline matching throughout this scene to try and make you feel more immersed with Eddie. The camera work is slanted and shaky to match the rush movement and walking of Eddie, and these techniques, along with the loud ringing song, creates a lot of tension and suspense in the film, leading up to collapsing into Lindy's arms. Finally, that brings us to the last scene in the film, where Eddie asserts dominance over Carl. This scene does an amazing job showing the power dynamic between Eddie and Carl. Eddie finally asserts dominance over Carl after the whole film, Carl trying to have control over Eddie. Berger also adds many more aspects of eyeline matching to this scene. You can see Eddie's much taller than Carl in this scene, and the camera matches Carl's eyeline, so you're looking at him from the same angle, and you're looking at Eddie from an angle below. This scene shows how far Eddie has truly come from the beginning of the film. He's come so far that he can predict that when one car is going to hit another based purely off what he sees. And he's completely gotten off the drug. This perfectly wraps up Eddie's character and gives him the depth and the growth that we were looking for. My overall takeaways from the film are that Berger did a great job engaging the audience with a interesting sci-fi plot and strong CGI and editing effects. I completely disagree with the thought that this film is an overproduction. I think that Robert De Niro and Bradley Cooper's chemistry perfectly encapsulates the competitiveness of the corporate world. And I think the movie's combination of CGI, special effects, and filters farther improves the feeling of NCT and gives the audience a more personal connection to the drug and the effects of the people who are taking it. As always, guys, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.